What if the most important chapter in our story isn't lost? It just rotted. We've dug 1,000,000 years into the past and mostly pulled up two things: stones and bones. So we tell a simple story, slow, then suddenly airplanes and rockets. But this year, a team digging in Tanzania dropped a time bomb: bone tools, shaped, used, engineered from 1.5 million years ago. Not just rocks, not just luck, technology. If bones and wood vanish in ordinary soil, what else have we been missing? Here's the big idea. The archaeological record is biased. Stuff that rots doesn't usually make it. Stuff that rusts can vanish completely. So the deep past looks like a world of stone and a few lucky bones, and we build our entire narrative on that tiny, stubborn fraction that survives. Today, we'll do three things. Walk through the new 1.5 million year bone tool discovery that forces a rewrite. Show why wood, fibers, leather, and most metals ghost out of history. And rebuild a different picture, one where early humans weren't dumb, just invisible to us most of the time. Olduvai Gorge, ground zero for human origins. In 2025, researchers working the OGAP T69 area announced shaped bone tools in a Acheulean context, 1.5 million years old. These aren't random splinters. They're deliberately modified bones used for digging, perforating, and processing, a toolkit beyond stone. Why does this matter? Because the Acheulean, famous for its symmetrical hand axes, was always framed as stone mines using stone. This puts bones squarely on the workbench early. It says material choice was strategic. Bone is springy, resilient, and great for certain tasks stone isn't. That's design thinking, 1,000,000 years earlier than we teach. Let's be clear, this isn't a civilization. It's not cities. It's better. It's tech. It's knowledge moving through generations, quietly, made of perishable stuff. The kind of tech you and I would miss if we only looked for stone. Archaeology is a crime scene where most of the evidence gets eaten. Here's the quick and dirty. In normal, aerated soils, wood decays fast, years to centuries, thanks to fungi and bacteria. Only in special environments, waterlogged, oxygen-poor wetlands, bone-dry deserts, deep freeze, does wood last millennia. That's why ships like the Mary Rose or Vasa survive in anaerobic waterlogged conditions, then need heroic conservation the moment they hit air. Fibers and leather, same story. Amazing if frozen or desert dry, otherwise they vanished. So prehistoric nets, woven bags, cordage, almost all gone. We know they existed from impressions and rare miracle finds. Bone mineral hydroxyapatite dissolves under acidic soils. Fluctuating water tables accelerate destruction. Even bones don't like most burial conditions. Now imagine bone tools. They're rare because they rot, not because we didn't make them. Iron in damp, aerated, chloride-rich soils can corrode to nothing. Over long timelines, objects can be fully mineralized or lost. Copper alloy artifacts can be heavily eaten by chlorides. At Sipan, Peru, substrates of Cu-AgAu alloys were almost completely corroded in burial. Gold is relatively inert. That's why we find gold jewelry. But that's survivor bias, not a real measure of ancient tech levels. Even gold often is impure and can degrade if alloyed. So when we say we only find stones and bones, that's not a verdict on human intelligence. It's a verdict on what doesn't rot. In Germany, a set of 8 wooden spears from Schöningen stunned archaeologists. Perfectly balanced hunting weapons. You read that right, wood, preserved because of exceptional conditions. Long framed is around 300,000–400,000 years ago. Recent work revises key layers to around 200,000 years ago and suggests Neanderthals likely made them. Think about the world we don't see because wood rarely survives. Throwing sticks, digging sticks, bowls, baskets, fish traps, sleds, cradles, crutches, frames. Most of prehistory's everyday tech was probably wood. At Katanda DIC, Middle Stone Age layers yielded barbed bone harpoons 90 to 80,000 years old, matched with catfish bones, organized seasonal fishing, gear maintenance, and probably knowledge of riverscapes across generations. That's craft and planning too. You've heard the story. Humans wake up around 40,000 years ago. But in Blombos Cave, South Africa, someone drew a cross-hatch pattern with an ochre crayon about 73,000 years ago. That's abstract representation, a mark that means more than itself, long before Europe's cave art heyday. Stone tool making goes deep. Oldovian and even pre-Oldovian Lomekwi's tools around 3.3 million years ago, probably Australopiths shaping rock. If they worked wood or bone too, it mostly vanished. Every once in a while, something complicated slips through the preservation filter, like the Antikythera mechanism, a Hellenistic analog computer with gears modeling the heavens around the 1st century BCE. We didn't think that level of gearing existed until the Middle Ages. Then one corroded device surfaced from a shipwreck and changed the plot. How many wooden or organic equivalents never got that miracle? Let's run a thought experiment. If we vanished tomorrow, what would the future archaeologists get? Concrete and stone survives in fragments for ages, though rebar corrodes. Plastics, a lot will photodegrade or fragment, many will persist in some form. Iron and steel, in the wet, aerated, salty soils, toast on long timelines. In deserts or anoxic clays, better. Copper alloy tech, patchy, can mineralize or dissolve. Silicon chips and wires, fragile, corrode, delaminate, and break. Paper, fabrics, and wood, gone in most places, survive in deserts, bogs, permafrost. If your civilization leans on organics and wood, you can be smart, organized, even brilliant, and 99.9% of your stuff just doesn't fossilize. You won't show up as cities and plinths. You'll show up as traces, stone points near riverfish bones, a few bone tools in a lucky layer, a pattern etched in ochre. That's why we only find stones and bones, not because humans were stuck, because nature was a shredder. You're saying there was an advanced civilization a million years ago? No. We're saying technology is broader than stone, and the survivors biased our stories. The 1.5 million year Olduvai bone tools show intentional manufacture with bone alongside stone in the Acheulean, way earlier than most people think. That doesn't mean skyscrapers, it means capable minds choosing materials we rarely see. But we go from bones to rockets in 100 years. That line is great for drama and also kind of the point. The last 200 years leave durable signatures, rail beds, concrete, landfills. Prehistory signatures were often biodegradable. You're comparing loud evidence to quagga evidence. Isn't there art and ritual earlier than expected? Yeah. Blombos gives us abstract drawing of 73 Ka. Gatanda shows complex fishing gear 90 Ka. Wooden spears at Schoningen show weapon craft hundreds of thousands of years ago. These finds don't look like slow mines. They look like missing data finally peeking through. Human history isn't a staircase. It's a coastline, eroded, silted, revealed by tides. When a shaped bone from 1.5 million years ago rolls out of the dirt, it's not just a tool, it's a message. We've always been smarter than our fossils suggest, and the story we tell depends on what we choose to see when most of it is gone. If history leaves only what refuses to rot, what stories are we not telling yet? Hit subscribe and let's dig them up. Also, drop a comment. Which vanished technology would you bet existed a million years ago?